So in this space of silence and quiet and presence, we give thanks for this day, this place, this consciousness that encompasses so much loving and caring and knowing that there is only one power and one presence active in our lives and in the universe, and especially here at Unity Spiritual Center of the Valley. We are blessed, and say amen and amen.
Amen. And let's all stand for our opening congregational. Love, love, love.
Three loves? Love, love, love. Three loves, people.
And that's it. Thanks for the service. That was a great message. So carry that home. Good morning, everybody. It is a sunny, cool Sunday at Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center, and we are glad you're here. You are home. You are in the perfect and right place. If you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome. Like I say, you are home. There are all of us that are your fellow ambassadors that can answer questions for you, as well as information in the Great Hall, as well as fellowship afterward, and a gift in the bookstore. And that goes to people at home, too. Welcome also. Let's introduce our chaplains. We're in the white stoles. It's Donovan and me and Warren, and I'm Kathy Rybicki, and we're here to pray with you through the good and the not so good, or the good and the opportunities for growth. And we're available after service, and we're available during the week anytime by calling the office and after the Wednesday service. So thanks, chaplains, for all you do. Next up, it is my little dear candlelighters. Almost twins, but not quite. It's the energy crew. And the energy crew knows what to do. Beautiful. Come on forward, ladies, and as you know, the Christ light is in all of us, from little itty bitties all the way. Hey, I need you up here, babe, in the center, so we can bless you. So, Evie and Adele, let's give them a blessing. You are beautiful children of God, perfect in every way. You are loved unconditionally, just the way you are. And if it's true for them, it is true for us. And we say with gusto, I am a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. I am loved unconditionally, just the way I am. And now we're going to sing all those kids out to Sunday school. I am looking for Bertha Hamilton. Look at you right up front, and I'm used to looking where you sit. I'm so sorry. Here's Bertha with our first announcement.
Good morning. I am so grateful to be a part of this loving, generous community. We had our Bunko Bash fundraiser on Friday night. We had a fun time supporting our church. I'd like to thank the women of Unity for their delicious food, the wonderful, beautiful basket, the gift cards, and their can-do attitude. I'd like to give special thanks to Gretchen and Pat and Gian for taking care of the kitchen. They put out all the food, they cleaned up everything, and we appreciate that. To Jennifer Ritchie for collecting all of the tables and delivering them back to where they need to go. To John Working, Teresa, and Warren for helping with setup, cleanup, tickets, and overall support. A special thank you to Lucy Working, my partner. We could not have Bunko without Lucy. And I want to mention that we raised $2,560 for the church. So thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Bertha. Wow, that's fantastic news. So for those of you that haven't checked your cell phones, check your cell phones. At home, you don't have to worry about your cell phones, but here, if you could check your cell phones, that would be great. We have a lot of announcements and a lot going on. It feels like school's back and there's all this momentum, so how fun. There is a luau on the lawn in the Peace Garden, surrounded by our rose plants and the balmy late summer breezes of the California Delta. Come and enjoy the, okay, I can't believe they put this in announcements. Come and enjoy the Hale Hula Onua Paua dancers. Let's just say, let's come and enjoy the Hawaiian dancers. And Anela Haluhaki ukulele and songs. Again, Teresa, I have a moment with you. A grand meal of Hawaiian stylings will be offered, all for the low cost of $20 with kids eating free. Tickets are available today and in the Great Hall and in the office during the week. And you get to go to Hawaii for $20. Like, come on. Such a deal. And we did it, I think, a year or two ago. Maybe time flies, and it was lovely and wonderful and fun and beautiful, and we were enjoying our outside, and it was just great. Next up, our very own Jane Ingriff and Denny Colleray, thank you for the easier names, will be performing a universal sound healing with crystal bowls and a unique guitar sound to balance the body and quiet the mind on Friday, August 30th at 7 p.m. A suggested love offering is $30, and more information is available in the Great Hall. New Earth Care is a community endeavor, and the meeting times and the dates are the first and the third Thursday of the month, starting August 22nd at 4 p.m. I think there's more information in a sign-up in the Great Hall. There's a lot going on that there are sign-ups in the Great Hall. The Unity World Day of Prayer is Thursday, September 12th. I can't believe we're talking September already, but we are. The prayer chaplains will be available in the sanctuary from noon till 6 for those wishing to join in prayer. And if we've done in past years on the half hour, we do a different prayer from all different parts of the world. It's really lovely and heartfelt and centering. There are two things coming up, Fall Reflections, which is the new name for our fall program, and A Joyous Abundance. There are two magical events, and thank goodness for fall and back to school, because that's where we tie those in. Here we go, folks. In the Great Hall are the small group sign-up forms. If you have not participated in the Fall Reflections small group book study, this is the one. Our book this year is The Book of Secrets by Deepak Chopra, and the book is in the bookstore for sale. There was some confusion that there was a fee for the fall program or fall reflections, and there's not, because there's another offering, and we think maybe those two items might be getting confused. But Joyous Abundance with our wonderful Reverend Dahlia is going to be teaching a class of joy. Her presence and knowledge will be exciting and free-flowing as she guides us through 5 weeks of prosperity, teachings, and love. The cost of that one is $100, but eligible for scholarship. So because it's kind of tied in timing-wise with the Fall Reflections program, we needed to make that clarification. And next up, I am looking for the wonderful, fabulous, I'll just keep saying adjectives, you can walk slowly, Warren Spaeth.
Thank you, Kathy. Yes, Reverend Dahlia is returning next weekend. Yay! I am so excited. It's been a while. I'm looking forward to her presence, for her power, for her prayerful presence here. And we are having a celebration at Fellowship. Many of you have heard this announcement before. And we are going to gear the whole fellowship time to her return with vegetarian food. We're going to have a cake. We're going to present a monetary gift for her birthday, because she's not only returning right now, but it's her birthday this month. So like every year, we show our love and appreciation in that very special way, and she so much appreciates this. This is a wonderful gift of love that we do. So I'll be handling that collection if anybody feels like moved to give a birthday gift. We are having a meeting to finalize all of these wonderful plans for Reverend Dahlia next weekend over in the Fellowship Hall in the corner after the first 30 minutes of Fellowship. So please come next weekend, show her this, what this community, what she knows and we know, that we are a loving, beautiful community, and it's going to be so good to see her. So thank you. See you later.
What a wonderful way to welcome her back. Oh my gosh, for a huge congregation birthday party. How great is that? Before it's time to greet your neighbor, I'm going to throw in an announcement. Yes. Go, you first.
You guys can come up. So next week, we're not going to be able to be here. We're going up on our annual tour to Seattle area, Janet and I. So I hope you help welcome Reverend Dahlia back on our behalf. But also we're having some new musicians that have never been here before. Their names are Jared and Shauna, and they're from Hawaii, where their studio and home, they had to evacuate because of the lava from Mount Haleakala. and they're living here now. So I hope you welcome them, make them feel welcome here, and enjoy the new vibration of music that they have to bring to us. So that's all I had to say.
I say it's another Hawaiian connection.
That's it.
It's in the air. So we are not allowed to add announcements unless we get approval, but being the rule breaker that I am, you would have even either had Michelle Dickey up here for 20 minutes or me. So Lisa Murray, our very own talented, wonderful, does all of our website and our fabulous, fabulous posters, and her graphic artistry is great. She is doing single-handedly an ag and art film festival. There's a little brochure on the table. She's doing it single-handedly. So anybody that wants to help, anybody that wants to donate, anybody that wants to get more information, pick up that little piece of paper. She has been involved in Sundance and all sorts of great things, and just thinks that ag and art is so much a part of our growth and our spirituality, so she's pulling it off, and she's so talented, it's going to be wonderful. So I'll be a rebel and throw that in and take it away. And if you talk to Reverend Dahlia, I did not add an announcement.
Let's all stand. We'll sing our greeting song together. This is Devotion.
My body
And as we center ourselves into the almost message portion of the service, let us say together with gusto our statement of faith. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good.
a sacred place. And thanks to all of you this morning and always who do what you do to keep this and co-create this as a sacred place, because this Unity Center truly is that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting me be here again. Good for me. So Alfred Einstein, yeah, right? Good for me, and good for you. Alfred Einstein was once quoted as saying the most important decision we ever have to make is whether the universe is a friendly or unfriendly or hostile universe. So that's not very nice. And it's and it's not what we were expecting from him, right? But he went on to actually explain himself. And you also want to remember here that he died in 1955. So these things he said was back there. So he said, if we decide that the universe is an unfriendly place, then we will use our technology, our scientific discoveries, and our natural resources to achieve safety and power by creating bigger walls to keep out the unfriendliness and bigger weapons to destroy all that which is unfriendly. And I believe that we're getting to a place where technology is powerful enough that we may either completely isolate or destroy ourselves as well in this process. If we decide that the universe is neither friendly nor unfriendly, and that God is essentially playing dice with the universe, and we are simply victims to the random toss of the dice, here we are, and our lives have no real purpose or meaning. But if we decide that the universe is a friendly place, then we will use our technology, our scientific discoveries, our natural resources to create tools and models for understanding that universe. Because power and safety will come through understanding its workings and its motives. So I'm going to tell you a story that even if you've never heard it, you already know it. And if it is familiar, the hope is that you will discover that you know more of it than you thought you did. And it's a true story. Well, all stories are true stories, right? They may not have actually happened, but every story is a true story. But this story, this event actually happened. So stay with me here. On the first night of the Holy Day, over 150 years ago, Rabbi Shalom of Bells, known as the Angel of Peace, ordered his attendant to harness his horses rather than go into the synagogue to signal the beginning of prayer. This is actually a picture of Rabbi Shalom, not actually looking like an angel of peace, but you know, it's a very old photograph, and sometime in the mid-1800s that photograph was taken, so I have to remember that. So he told his attendant, he said, we're going into the woods. And the astonished attendant wanted to remind the Rebbe that thousands of Hasidim were waiting for him in the shul, but he knew better than to ask any questions, so he did what he was told and went out and prepared the wagon. And after a half-hour drive, the Rebbe, the rabbi, signaled the attendant to stop, and they alighted and walked down a narrow path until they saw a small hut in the distance. The rabbi signaled the attendant to wait for him, and then he tiptoed alone up to the window and peeked in. An old man was sitting alone at a table, and in front of him was a bottle of vodka and 2 small cups, one in front of him and one in front of the seat opposite. Through the window, the rabbi couldn't hear what the man was saying, but clearly he was talking. But he saw him raise the cup in a toast, drink it, and then drink the second cup as well. And he did this 2 more times. After which the rabbi tiptoed back to the attendants, and they walked quickly to the wagon, and the rabbi motioned him to drive back to Bells. Meanwhile, the Hasidim, those who were waiting, 5,000 people, were waiting for him for over an hour and were certainly clearly worried, but as soon as the door opened and he came in, there was silence. And all eyes were on him as he took his place at the front of the shul, and the room burst into prayer. It's not me. It's not me. As we go on. So the prayer ended, and the rabbi said to his secretary, there's an old man who came in after everybody else, and he's going to finish his prayers after everybody else. So when he's done, would you please tell him to meet me in my study? Now, in a synagogue, prayer is done a little differently. You know, here we come together, we pray together. But in a synagogue, especially an Orthodox synagogue of that time, the women be on one side or upstairs, not downstairs, upstairs. The women would be upstairs, and the men would be on the other side, and people would pray in their own time, in their own way, which is really kind of beautiful. So people would finish at different times, and there was a lot of noise, right? So an hour later, the old man was standing in fear and trepidation in front of the Rebbe. "Sit down, Zelig," said the rabbi. "I want you to tell me what you did in your house before you came here. What were those 2 cups of vodka and that strange blessing you made?" "The rabbi knows that?" "How does he know that?" as he was shaking. "I sensed something important was going to happen, so I drove into the woods and I peeked in your window. And I want to understand what you were doing." "The rabbi peeked in my window? How could that be? I'm a nothing." Now the poor man was really confused, and he was silent, and he realized there was no alternative, so he sank down into the chair and began to explain. "I'm a poor man. I have no children. My wife passed on some years ago. I just live alone with my few farm animals. That's all. That is until a few months ago when my cow became sick. So I prayed to God to heal the cow. After all, I said to God, you create the entire universe with everything in it. Certainly you can cure one little old cow. But the cow got worse. So I said, listen, God, you don't heal the cow. I'm not going to shul anymore. I figure that if God doesn't care about me, why should I care about him? It's nothing for him to heal one cow. Why should I care about his place? But the cow died, and I got mad. And I stopped going to the synagogue. Then my goat got sick. I said to God, you haven't had enough? You think I'm bluffing? I mean, if this cow dies, I'm not putting on my tallis, my prayer shawl anymore. So the goat died, and I stopped wearing my tallis. Next, my chickens got ill. And I told God, if they die, I'm not going to recite prayers or keep the Shabbos anymore. Well, a week later, I was without my chickens, and God was without my Shabbos, the Sabbath. And I held out for over a week until I realized that the high holy days were coming. And I thought to myself, Zelig, you're not going to observe with the Rebbe? What, are you crazy? But then again, I was angry with God, and I vowed I wasn't going to go to shul. But then I remembered one time that I had this argument with Shlomo the butcher. For a month, we didn't even say hello to each other. But then one night, he came to my house with a bottle of vodka and said, let's forget the past and be friends again. Enemies, we have enough of. So we made 3 blessings, we shook hands and even danced around a little bit, and we were friends again. So I thought I'd do the same thing with God. I invited him to sit opposite me. I poured us 2 cups, and I said, listen, God, you forget my fault, I'll forget yours. All right, a deal? L'chaim. So I drank my cup, but knowing, of course, that God doesn't drink, he probably wanted me to drink his. So we did this 2 more times, and then we danced around a little together, and then I felt better, and I came to shul. The rabbi looked very deeply into Zelig's innocent eyes. And in a serious tone, he said, listen, before we began this holy day, I had this sense, I saw in heaven that there was a terrible degree on our congregation because the members were saying the words to the prayers, but they weren't really praying seriously to God. They were reading the words, but it wasn't coming from their hearts. Of course, there's lots of distractions, there's lots of excuses always. But you, Zelig, you talk to God like God is your friend. And your sincerity saved the entire congregation. So I just want to tell you that this synagogue was dedicated in 1843. It resembled an ancient fortress. It was in the city of Belz, which is either, depending on who's in charge, it's either in eastern Poland or western Ukraine. And it stood until 1939 when the Nazis came in, invaded Belz. And though they tried to destroy it by fire and then by dynamite, it wouldn't go. And finally, they conscripted Jewish men in forced labor to take the building apart brick by brick. So now it seems more than ever it's really important for us to attend to our own relationship with Spirit, with God, however it is we do that. And I've recently learned this saying in Hebrew, and it just really grabbed me. Not the Hebrew part, because I don't understand Hebrew. But it's often inscribed on the ark, which is, the ark is a cabinet in a synagogue that holds the Torah being the first 5 books of the Bible. And it's a very holy, holy thing. And it reminds people that when they gather together to worship, that it is a friendly, wonderful place, but it's also a place of reverence. And not to become so relaxed to forget that important sacredness of the sacred place. It tells us that as we open our hearts and our minds and our souls, we can feel this presence and power. And that while this is a holy place, everything's a holy place. And so the saying is da LIFNEI mi ATTAH omed. Da LIFNEI ma ATTAH oned. But what it means, this is so amazing to me. Know before whom you stand. Know whom before you stand. Which for me is so holy to take that in. See, that picture is of Moses at the burning bush. And something I just absolutely love about Unity is the way we use Bible interpretation. We take the events and the people and the year, the numbers, and all of it, and we interpret it as states of consciousness within our own being. So for me, this burning bush has always been this flame that's alive in us, because the burning bush kept burning, but it never burned up. It wasn't a fire that destroyed. It was a fire that enhanced and built and was creative. Have you ever felt that? Have you had this fire burn inside of you where you know what you know, that you have to do, that you need to do, that you got to do? And it's solemn, but it's also exciting and wonderful. And when Moses asks, who are you? Who is it I'm standing before? And the answer is, I am that I am. Isn't that gorgeous? So that inside of you that's on fire but will not be extinguished, that's on fire within you that has to have its place of expression, is the I am that I am. It's our second principle, right? Our first principle is that there is one power and one presence. I mean, I just love that because it just says it. And and our second principle is that this power and presence we are a part of. And like I told you last time, it's a part of us the way a drop of water is in the ocean, not, according to Eric Butterworth, a raisin in a bun. I love that. Isn't that great? A drop of water in the ocean, not a raisin in a bun. So I ask you, is your life at this moment in time, right now, is your life big enough for that fire? Is your life big enough for your soul expressing as it absolutely has to? And it's a yes or no question, but it doesn't really need or warrant an answer. It's a question to live in, to engage in, perhaps to take into your meditation. Are you walking your talk? Do you mean what you say? Do you know before whom you stand? In the book of Deuteronomy, this commandment is given, that you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. The book of Deuteronomy is in the Hebrew or the Old Testament. It's very powerful. Now, the New Testament is really a mirror, a reflection of the Old Testament. And just, it's sort of updated the words. Now, there's been so much study done on the Gospels and who wrote what and when were they written and did it even happen and did Jesus even live? I mean, there's the gamut of that. And in a way, it doesn't even matter because the teachings are so powerful and wonderful. When Jesus was asked by a Sadducee, what commandment is first? I mean, what am I supposed to do? What's the main thing I'm supposed to do with my life and my being? You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. I think of the 12 powers you have around this room, and it sort of encompasses that. And now here's the tricky part. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no greater commandment. There is no other commandment greater than these. Now, love your neighbor as yourself. Do you love yourself unconditionally? Do you accept yourself without judgment and honor that fire burning in yourself all the time? I mean, maybe we need to love our neighbor more than ourselves. You know, that reminds me of is it 4 agreements? 4, 5? I know there's a 5th one too. But the one that always spoke to me was always do your best. Because I realized that I was always trying to do better than my best, that my best wasn't enough. I had to do more. And it really taught me to just back off and know my best is what it is. I had a board president at a church I served, and she used to say, it's good enough. It's good enough. You know, instead of reaching out this way, to reach down this way. So, you know, I never really had thought about this one before. It's very interesting. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Now, when I was 5 years old, living in the Bronx, I had 2 girlfriends that went to Holy Cross, you know, the Catholic school across University Avenue, where the NYU campus was, the Bronx campus. And they were in school, so they were learning to read and do all the cool stuff I wasn't doing yet in kindergarten. And one afternoon, they showed me how they pray. So they got on their knees, and they mumbled something. I thought it was mumbling. And then they made the sign of the cross. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. So that night, before I went to bed in my seersucker pajamas, I got on my knees by my little single bed, sharing the room with my brother, who was 3 years younger, and I mumbled the words, and I made the sign of the cross on my chest. Well, my father, Irving A. Levine, who was usually a very mild-mannered man and father, saw this, and now we'd been raised secular, you know, no religion, but the ethnicity. So the next day, my mother marched me over to the synagogue, where I'd never been. Nobody went there, nobody in our family. And she explained the situation that she wanted me in Sunday school. And they explained, well, we don't take children this young. They have to already be reading. And this thing my mother said was, my mother, who would make anybody quake in their shoes, she said, if you don't take her, the Catholic Church will. So there I was in Sunday school for just a couple of months until it was inconvenient for the family to take me, and that was sort of that. But something happened in those 2 months. I don't even remember, but I learned one thing, one Hebrew phrase that I didn't even understand, but it became comfort to me in my life. I would say this in bed at night before I went to sleep. And really what it is, it's that same statement that we say, that there is one presence and one power, that you love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And this is it. It's here, which I used to thought was H-E-R-E, but it's H-E-A-R, hear. Listen, hear. Hear, O Israel, the Jewish people, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And that is our statement of faith, and it's just amazing. And, years later, as I found unity and became a unity minister and went to unity school, it just all fits so beautifully. And how, as a young child, that gave me so much comfort. And I didn't know anything about it, but just to have that one thing to do. So here it is. What's ours to do? To love ourselves, to love our neighbors as ourselves in these times, and maybe most importantly, to know before whom you stand. To know whom before you stand. Know before whom you stand. Know before whom you stand. Shalom, namaste. Modéani, inviting God, imploring God to return our souls to us each morning after the night. And so the invitation now is to just go soft. Soften your belly, soften your body. letting go into this moment of loving self and loving your neighbor as yourself. And as the Buddhists say, and let these words be the words of your own heart, may I be happy. May I be at peace and at ease. May I feel safe and protected from harm. May I be free. I invite you now to bring someone to mind, someone who's easy for you to love, to hold that image in your mind right now. Someone who is easy for you to love. That one. And let the words from my lips be the words that you say to this person that you hold the image of. You say, may you be happy. May you be at peace and at ease. May you feel safe and protected from harm. May you be free. And then however you do that, release that image and that person from your consciousness for now. And let come to mind an image of someone you feel neutral about. Not particularly one way or the other. And let this be the words from your heart to this person. May you be happy. May you be at peace and at ease. May you feel safe and protected from harm. May you be free. And however you do that, let go of the image of that person. Release them for now from your consciousness. And now let come to mind the image of a person you have some difficulty with. That one. And let this be the words that you offer. May you be happy. May you be at peace and at ease. May you feel safe and protected from harm. May you be free. And release that image from consciousness and mind. Send that person on their way for now. And now put a hand somewhere on your heart or your belly, somewhere so you can give yourself this blessing. Let this be the words of your own heart. May I be happy. May I be at peace and at ease. May I feel safe and protected from harm. May I be free. And release that hand or not. And allow yourself to have a few lovely, lovely deep breaths. And exhale. And perhaps as you breathe in, just silently say, breath in, and then breath out. And do that for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times. Breath in, and breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. and gently and slowly, knowing that all of this is something you carry within you and will not be forgotten. Allow yourself to again be soft and still. And as you're ready, gently and softly allow your eyes to open and know all is well in heaven and on earth. So be it.
וקיים שהגזרת מנשמתי בקמלה רבה אמונתך רבה אמונתך.
And if you were spiritually fed like I was in today's service, like I always am when I'm around Unity people, this is the time to tithe financially. We tithe our talents, we tithe our time, and those at home and those here, time for the tithes and offerings. And together we say, God's love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have. All that I give and receive, I am grateful.
Alone I roam by the ocean shore, wrestling waves in a brawling roar, thy angry mood in a rippling quiver, until thy vastness made me shiver. And a kindly spreading sentinel tree raised friendly arms to comfort me, consoling me with a look divine. Your swaying leaves a tender rhyme, and I knew that you were always near. Knew that you were always near. I saw the gaugeless mystic sky, and childlike I thought to pry, as if to play hide and seek with me, receding when I reached for thee. I ceased my move with big despair, you sly eluder everywhere, and I knew that you were always near. I knew that you were always near. Still no answer from the rolling sea, only whispers from friendly tree, silence from the vast blue sky, from valley low and mountain high. Then suddenly an unseen hand snatched away the blinding band. Now laughing sea, no more howling roars, gay-clad world whispering open doors, with only mists of dreams between. Someone beside me stood unseen. I knew that you were always near. Sweet God, I knew that you were always near. And I knew that you were always near. I knew that you were always there. Yeah.
So I like to say it in the morning. I like to say it when I'm awake at 3 in the morning. I like to say it at night before I go to bed. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. May joy, peace, and love be abundant, because abundance is here and now manifest. And now it's time for the peace song to form our circle. And blessings, peace, joy, love to you on your trip to the Pacific Northwest. We'll miss you, but you'll be in good hands, and we'll welcome back Reverend Dahlia.
as we go out into this day and this week, into our lives, we just hold steady. We love ourselves, we love our neighbors, and we remember before whom we stand.